Hey guys, Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. How you all doing? I'm doing great, man. I don't have any crazy life updates though. I feel like I'm really living the boring life lately. I've been working way too much, but enjoying it at the same time. Like, I'm so lucky to be able to, you know, my main gig is, you know, a talent agency, production, stuff like that. Aftershock Media Group. You can check us out at amg.gg. But then I'm really loving YouTube lately. On like, I have 5 channels.
Wait, first of all,
a few of them are kind of like secret channels that I'm just trying to do as projects. It has nothing to do with any mobile gaming or anything like that. But I'm really enjoying the kind of, I have the creative juices flowing here. And of course, I have the 3 raid channels, the champion guides, the promo codes in this channel. Champion guides, especially promo codes, I don't really have enough promo codes to make content on that channel. So I'm thinking about what I want to do there. Do I want to just kill the channel? Do I want to keep it with promo codes and really not do much with it? Or do I want to add something else to it? Like maybe other video game promo codes, not just raid? I don't even know. I don't even play that many other video games personally. Certainly none that were made in the last 5 years. I'm all retro gaming all the time. I haven't had a ton of time to, you know, read any good books lately or watch any good movies lately. So I'm coming up empty-handed in that regard, but if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Today is going to be the conclusion of ranking top 10 champions in a certain rarity. We did that with epics about a week and a half ago. We did that with legendaries a few videos ago, and now we're going to do it with rares. On the legendary champions, top 15, heard you loud and clear. You guys really like when I rank them 15 to 1 in order, you know? So I'm going to do that again in this video with rare champions, but I will give the same disclaimer that I've given in all those videos. Listen, there is no top 15 or top 10 or top 3 or anything of rare or any champions in this game. This is just a fun exercise where I try to talk you guys into my choices.
Into my choices.
Giving me epics, and he could be an epic. He's that good. He's still one of my favorite rares in the game. Because these are just that, right? These are my choices of champions that I really enjoy, and I really see the value and have experienced the value in a lot of different areas playing the game for 4+ years. But I want to ask you guys in advance, at the end of this video, at the end of this list, I really want to hear from you guys. Who did I, just give me one champion or 2. Who did I snub the most? That's what I want to see in the comments. I want to see just who you think should have been on this list. Who did I snub? Can't wait to read the comments. Let's go ahead and get to it with champion number 15. Champion number 15 on our list is going to be one of the 2 Sylvan Watchers. Only 2 rares, man. They don't like rares nowadays. And it's going to be Shadowbow Turlock. I did a guide on him. Really impressed with this champion. He's a tanky champion. He's got 1233 base defense. Pretty solid for a rare. He's got decreased attack on his A1. It's the small version, but still he's got it at a 50% land rate. Not too bad. On his A2, it's an AoE with a weak version of increased speed. Again, if you don't have increased speed, better have 15% than nothing, right? So he's got that on the 3-turn cooldown. Again, AoE, defense, base attack. And then he has this 4-turn cooldown, a Veil on all allies. That's going to automatically start mitigating 7.5% of AoE damage, which is nice. And then we have a shield on all allies, 2 turns, based on 20% of this champion's max HP. So we can scale up his HP, especially vis-a-vis the accessories, really high. There's an interesting slow build that you can use with this champion as well, because he's bringing a Veil and a shield and increased speed. You can definitely work the masteries to get that turn meter going quite rapidly, right? Even in a slow build, which is really cool. We have camo cover, decrease the damage received from skills by all allies under Veil or Perfect Veil buffs by 5%. So we have that built-in damage mitigation as well. He's going to come in real handy, especially when the Sylvan Watchers faction crypt goes open or live or whatever. So keep your eye on that champion. Pretty cool support champion. Number 14, gonna go from new school to old school here, and it's gonna be our barbarian, and it's marked.
You just implied that I'm an old lady.
Oh, well, honey, I didn't mean to imply it. I meant to say it flat out.
Marked still, at least in my opinion, does not get the respect that she ought to have. I mean, she's a very good rare champion. On her A1, she's got a decreased defense, right? It's a weak version, but she's got it on the A1, and you can book it all the way up to, what, an 80% chance? Not bad, right? Especially if you're lacking it for bosses from another champion. Punishment of Gods, really solid AoE on the A2. It's a 3-turn cooldown. She's bringing decreased accuracy for 2 turns. Again, on a 3-turn cooldown. Not bad. There's not many rare champions that bring an AoE decreased accuracy, especially for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. And then we have her big money ability again, a 3-turn cooldown. She's bringing block debuffs and increased defense, the big version. So we're getting the big version increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Then we're getting block debuffs as well for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. It's a really, really valuable skill. I want to show you here. She has defensive faction crypts as well. But what a great defensive champion that can bring, you know, more to the table than just the increased defense as well. The block buffs specifically. But I want to give you kind of maybe an honorable mention here. He's not on the list, but compare that to like Odishai, right? He's got an AoE shield on himself, right? And then he has block debuffs for 1 turn, also on 3-turn cooldown. He's bringing increased defense, but it's only the weak version of increased defense. And he's a really good champion. But compare that to Marked. I think she has a much better kit. Granted, he's a defense-based champion, but their stats are not that far off. Marked is a lot faster too. So anyway, I like Marked, big fan. Number 13. I gotta be more dramatic with my countdown here. Number 13, drum roll please.
Please don't.
Frozen Banshee. So Frozen Banshee, listen, poison's not the meta right now for Clan Boss. It's still unkillable block damage. And if you're not using that right now, odds are eventually you'll graduate to that. So because of that, she falls a little bit low on the list. I would have put her maybe top 5 or 10 when she was released to the game. She was the first champion with poison sensitivity. She's got it on the A3 on a 3-turn cooldown. And then she's got the A2 where she's filling the turn meter of all allies by 2% for each debuff on the target. So that could be a massive turn meter fill. She will not use that on unless you put it as a priority to use that against Clan Boss, which is nice. Don't want to screw up the speed tuning of your team. And then Death's Caress on her A1, a 2-time hitter. Each hit 100% chance of placing a poison debuff for 2 turns, provided the target's under poison sensitivity. This is the big version of poison, which allows her, pick up War Master. She's doing a ton of damage with her poisons. She's bringing poison sensitivity as well. Just a really, really solid champion. And again, for Dragon too, not just Clan Boss. So Frozen Banshee is a champion that I rely on pretty heavily on my free-to-play account. Number 12 is going to be one of my personal favorites. Probably argue this guy could even be higher on the list. It's Gnarl Hornman. I really, really like this dude. He is a Skinwalker Spirit Affinity champion, HP-based champion, decent amount of HP, 17k. On his A1, whatever. On his A2, whatever. On his A2, War Drum places a provoke on all enemies, increased defense on himself. So it's a straight up 3-turn provoke, or a 2-turn provoke on a 3-turn cooldown, right? So really solid. It's not like based on a critical hit or anything like that. He's not attacking anybody, he's just placing that provoke. Then on the A3, this is where he becomes like next level great in terms of control. An unkillable on this champion for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. So 2 out of every 3 turns, he's going to be unkillable, provided you can heal him up. He's going to be provoking everybody, increase defense on himself, and then unkillable. Really, really good control champion. Also, defense in dungeons by 27%. A great dungeon aura, especially for a rare champion. He should probably be higher on the list, but number 12. Number 11, guys, is going to be my girl, Soulbind Bowyer. Really, really cool looking champion. An incredibly versatile champion. Well, maybe not versatile. Well, yeah, she's control and a little bit of damage too, right? She's got the Ancestral Guidance. All of her abilities, I'm not going to read it 3 times, have an additional 25% chance of inflicting a critical hit. So it's easier to get this champion and crit damage on your gauntlets if you choose to go that route. She has an AoE on the A1. Oftentimes, I run her in a stun set with Fearsome Presence Mastery, 23% chance of a stun, and I don't even use her A2 or her A3, even though you can, because there's some control there as well in the A3. But like really, really good stun, option, stun set option. Infused Arrow, 3-turn cooldown. You can book it up, but damage. So again, you don't even have to book her up if you don't want to, just AoE stuns. Anyway, attack 1 enemy. Will ignore 75% of the target's defense. That's an insane amount of ignoring defense. If you have her in a Savage set or something like that, that's 100% ignore defense. The downside is she doesn't hit that hard, so it's not quite as good as it sounds. I remember bringing her into the arena for the first time when I pulled her. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to one-shot anybody in the game. And not so much, but still, it's a nice ability. Soulbound Shot is even nicer, though, because we have a 100% chance, when booked, of fully depleting the target's turn meter. Like I said, she has more control in her kit than just the A1 in a stun set. This is on a 4-turn cooldown, so really, really solid kit. Really good control and or damage dealer champion in Soulbound Bowyer. All right, next up is number 10. Number 10, guys, is going to be an oldie but goodie, another Void champion here. It's going to be Painkeeper. Dude, Painkeeper's a really, really good champion. I think that people think of her and they just think of the A3 combat tactics, decrease the cooldown of all ally skills by 1 turn. It's like a budget Prince Kymar type ability, but it's great because it keeps a lot of clan boss teams running. But the rest of her kit is really solid, right? She has a, unfortunately, very squishy 771 on the base defense, but she has a lot of HP, which is nice. Fills the champion's turn meter by 10% on the A1. On the A2, attacks all enemies and heals all allies 15% of this champion's max HP. Fairly easy to scale her HP for a rare champion. So again, you're getting a pretty dang good heal off of this A2 ability. You can book it up for even more healing and book it down to a 4-turn cooldown. And then, of course, combat tactics. She's a good healer, good support champion, fairly easy to keep alive, and of course, she's instrumental to a lot of speed-tuned teams resetting the cooldown of all ally skills, especially like Man-Eater, Bat-Eater type teams. So Painkeeper comes in at number 10. Number 9, another one that just feels a little bit like she could be higher. It's Reliquary Tender. Reliquary is one of my favorite support champions. I've been saying this for years and years and years and years here on the channel. I love her. I think that she's underrated by a lot of players out there, maybe even me at number 9 on the list, guys, but she got the decreased attack on the A1. Only takes you 9 books to get it up to a, 40% chance, 50% chance. On the Tender's Watch, the good news is only 2 books there, so if you're lucky, you can get this down to a 3-turn cooldown, removes all debuffs from all allies, so it's a full cleanse and a continuous heal, big version for 2 turns. This makes her one of the better healers, believe it or not, for rare champions, and the best cleanser out of every rare champion. It's on 3-turn cooldown. She's also reviving. It's not a strong revive. It's a single target, 30% HP, 30% turn meter, but it's a revive nonetheless, and there's not that many rare revivers. I think there's only like 5 or 6 or so in the game. So you get the full cleanse, you get the continuous heal, you got the decreased attack, and you got the revive. Really, really solid support champion, Reliquary Tender. Number 8 is going to be Mr. Felhound. So Felhound is number 8 on the list. It's hard to rank this champion because, honestly, he's great for Fire Knight. He's got the reflect damage, but it's on a 2-turn cooldown. That's really, really good. I mean, very unique, very good. Reflect damage on a 2-turn that lasts for 2 turns. So if you build them fast enough, you can basically always have this up. Tremendous, especially against early and mid-game Fire Knight. But he's known for being the best, if not one of the best, campaign farmers in the game. He's still the champion that I use as my main campaign farmer on my dirty pay-to-win account. He can just get the job done with Ravage, his A1 ability, and that's about it. That's all you need to know about Felhound. But for me, he's just such a great 5-second campaign farmer out there. And again, I use him, so maybe I'm biased. Coming in at number 7, guys. Number 7 is going to be, here he is. It's going to be Kale.
What the hell?
I won't forget what you've done for me here today.
I'm sure some people probably thought that I was going to put Kale at like number 2 or 1 or 3, and you can definitely make that case. He is still, in my opinion, the best of the starting champions. So you can see, I'm sure most of the comments are going to be Aethel and Elhain in terms of the biggest snub. Maybe besides those 2, I think they're all pretty solid, you know. But if I pick Kale, I'm probably not rushing out there to build Elhain or Aethel over the rest of the champions that I have higher on this list. But if I'm starting out with one of those champions, I'm pretty happy with either of the 3, especially Aethel. I really like her Divine Blades for extra turn and her big version of Weaken on a triple hitter on the A1. So, you know, I don't know. I thought the list would be kind of boring if I just listed a bunch of rare champions, but you could definitely make the argument they all belong here. Either way, Kale has the weak version of Poison on the A1. He has the AoE. You guys know his kit. It's Kale, right? Got the big version of Poison on his A3, small version on the A1, and just a great poison damage dealer. Kale does not thrive in the end game as much as an Elhain or even an Aethel in the end game, but he's way better in the mid game and the early game, in my opinion. You know, the poison is at a premium. It's really hard to find good poison champions, and you got one right here in Kale, so he can help you out in dungeons early on, and certainly in clan boss early on, but he does drop off compared to the other 2, in my opinion, in the end game content. We're talking rare secret rooms and stuff like that. However, still the best of the 3 overall, and can be a great or a decent campaign farmer as well for early game, right? Number 6 is going to be none other than Bellower. I was looking in the epics, and he could be an epic. He's that good. He's still one of my favorite rares in the game. He's got an AoE on every single ability. You can put him in a stun set, and he's just stunning for days. Pick up Fearsome Presence, going to increase that chance to 23%. We talked about that earlier. 4-turn cooldown over here, 3-turn cooldown over here, and obviously no cooldown over here. He's got block active skills at a 30% on an AoE on the A1. That's a really, really good control ability. And then the decreased speed, it's the weak version, but it's a 75% land rate on a 3-turn cooldown. And then bringing the decreased attack and decreased defense. He has the small version of all of these debuffs, but it doesn't really even matter. Between a stuns or a campaign farmer, or even built for some damage, depending on how you want to use this champion. He's very, very versatile, and oftentimes it's hard to find one champion with a few of these debuffs, let alone one champion with all 3 of the separate skill debuffs. So, big fan of Bellower. Really versatile and incredibly good rare champion. They don't make him like Bellower anymore. Number 5 might be my most controversial pick so far on the list. I think most people would have him at number 1 or 2. I have him at number 5, and it's Apothecary. Listen, I love Apothecary. I don't want to talk any smack about Apothecary, but I feel like I have to defend not putting him at 1 or 2. He's a great champion. He's got a great aura for dungeons. He's incredible early game, increased speed, fill turn meter, great for the arena, great for any dungeon content in the game, great for clan boss in the early game. He has a good heal on a 2-turn cooldown. He's a triple hitter for Fire Knight on his A1. That's why I ranked him 5. He's a very, very good champion. I do feel like he's one of those champions that, again, once we get towards the end game, he falls off a bit compared to the other 4 champions that I have over him. And I'm not just saying this because I'm an end game player. I'm saying this because when I look to invest into a champion, I look to see how long are they going to last me before I'll have a better option somewhere out there. And that's why I feel like Apothecary is tremendous. Nothing against him at all. Great champion to help for Fire Knight progression, for dungeon progression everywhere, clan boss. But eventually in the end game, you're going to get a little bit more utility, in my opinion, out of the other champions. But just an incredible healer, and again, incredible turn meter booster and support champion. So he's bringing a lot to the table. Really can't say enough good things about Apothecary. And also, he's fast at 106 base speed, and his defense is over 1,000 as well. So fairly easy to keep alive compared to a lot of rares out there. I want to give a couple honorable mentions before we get to the top 4 here, guys. I am a huge fan of Executioner. I did a guide on him on my Champion Guide channel, and I think he's amazing. He's a little too slow for me to put in the top 15, but I love his control on his Tumult ability especially. I was thinking of one as I was talking earlier, who I was like, why didn't I even mention that guy? I'm a big fan of Valerie. I think Dagger's pretty cool as well. I was talking about the best healers in the game, or the best rare healers. I think Castigator is probably the best rare healer in the game. He's got this basically complete heal ability on a 3-turn cooldown with an extra turn, or 4-turn cooldown and then an extra turn. It equalizes HP, heals the ally lowest HP, and then equalizes everybody and grants an extra turn. So if you're just looking for heals, I mean, he definitely would be, in my opinion, the best rare healer, right up there probably with Apothecary, you know, depending on what you're looking for. What was the other champion that I wanted to give a shout out to? I'm sure it will come to me. If it doesn't, oh well. Number 4 is going to be War Maiden. So War Maiden is so freaking good. I use her all the time in the end game. She's basically my most reliable debuffer in the game in terms of rare champions, right? She's still got the AoE, decreased defense, 100% land rate on a 3-turn cooldown. She's campaign farmable. She's an easy champion to come across. What else can I say? She can deal damage. You just got to keep her alive. That's the only thing. She can deal damage, but most importantly, she is the most consistent debuffer out of any rare champion in the game to this day. Who else? Doomscreech we can give an honorable mention to. I'm just like getting crazy with my honorable mentions here. Sorry, guys. Doomscreech is a big fan of. He's got a nice turn meter boost and an increased defense here. Of course, I'm contractually obligated to give a quick shout out to my man Ashwalker. What's up, Ashwalker? I like this champion too. All right, moving into the top 3 here. Here we go, guys. Back to Night Revenant, right where we left. And number 3 is going to be Renegade. Renegade has the sacrificial ritual, right? Decrease the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns. The skill does not affect this champion or other champions with the skill. The champion will receive damage with 30% of their max HP. Will happen even if it kills the champion. So on a 5-turn cooldown, we have a decrease the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns. To me, there's no better reset champion out of rares than Renegade. Again, we talked about this with Painkeeper, but if you're looking for a reset champion and you don't have Prince Kaimar or Yumeko, Renegade, to me, is probably going to be your best option out there, and we see her in so many teams. Sometimes 2 turns are all you need, especially when speed tuned appropriately. So for that reason, maybe it's a little high on the list. Maybe you could argue she should be at like 5 and Apothecary should be up 1, but I just think she is a tremendous champion. So utilized. So many people use Renegade for this ability. So that's number 3. Number 2, maybe my most... Oh, I remember the champion. I remembered her. I want to give a massive shout to Diabolous. She's campaign farmable in stage 12, and I love this champion. She got increased speed as well on an AoE, and then she's got that fill turn meter, decreased turn meter, and she's a 110 base speed. That's my last shout out here. I feel like I've done too many, but I had to mention her. Number 2 on the list, guys. Let's see what you guys think of this. Kerzad Deepheart. I finally said his name right. Kerzad Deepheart, dude, is a monster of a champion. I am biased. He's one of my favorite champions in the game. He was the first champion in the game to have an AoE increase accuracy, and he remains the only rare in the entire game. There's only 2 epics, Claude Beastfeeder and somebody, to have increased accuracy. So only 2 epics. I think there's only 5 or so legendaries in the game, and there's only 1 rare, and he's got it. He's putting decreased accuracy on himself and all allies for 2 turns before he goes in to place to attack and place his debuff. So you can build him with a little bit lower accuracy because he's going to boost his own accuracy before he places decreased defense. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. You do have to book it to get the decreased defense up to 100%, but you don't have to book it to get the cooldown down. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. He has another AoE attack on a 3-turn cooldown as well that you don't have to book. Each critical hit fills his champion's turn meter by 7.5%. And then check this out on his A1. Attacks 1 enemy, extra hit if the attack is critical. The extra hit just flat out places the big version of decreased speed for 2 turns. Like 100% land rate. You don't have to book it up. Booking for more damage? Sure. But again, this dude, you don't even have to book him. You don't have to book him for the increased accuracy. He's bringing the big version, increased accuracy on a 3-turn cooldown. He has turn meter fill. He's bringing decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. He's bringing decreased speed on his A1. Great control. I put him in a stun set. I just did a guide on him on my other channel in a stun set. I think he'll probably go live around the same time as this video. If I remember, I'll put it in the show notes. But oh my god, dude. Am I crazy on Kerzad Deepheart? No tier list in the game has this dude top 5. Most of them don't have him top 10, but I have him number 2. So there you go, guys. I mean, what can I say? I'm a big fan. My last honorable mention will be my man Gear Grinder. I love this guy. He's so one-dimensional. He's got a revive on a 5-turn cooldown and a mediocre heal. That's all he has. But something about him, I just really like him. He's my go-to reviver. He and Reliquary Tender out of rare champions in the game. And number 1 is not going to be a surprise or a shock to anybody. And to be totally honest with you guys, as much as I love my man Kerzad, there is a gap, to me, in my opinion. There is a gap between the number 1 rare in the game and all the rest. And it's a massive chasm of a gap. Because Koltar is truly an incredible S-tier champion, even compared to legendaries and epics in this game. And for the most part, you can't really say that about other rare champions. They do have their own place, you know, thanks to the addition of rare-only content that you need rare champions. So I actually really like that they did that, honestly. I hope they kind of do more of that in the future, make only rare content, because it gives us abilities to use these champions that we may not have been using since we started the game, you know? It gives us a reason to hold on to these champions and think about upgrading them and more, you know, if we only took them to level 50 or something for Faction Wars. But with Koltar, she is just so legendary. She's got a 4-time hitter on her A1. She's the only rare with a 4-time hitter. That is so valuable, so incredibly valuable. A 4-time hitter for Fire Knight especially, with the big version of heal reduction. Each hit has a 35% chance of placing that. On 4 hits, it's pretty dependable. 100% heal reduction. She's got a pretty hard-hitting A2, Art of Pain. It's an AoE. We've got the big version of decreased accuracy. We've got a poison on them as well if they're under a heal reduction, so synergizes with the A1. But of course, the main feature of our kit is the incredible Heartseeker ability. Attacks 1 enemy on a 4-turn cooldown. It's kind of like Soulbind Bowyer's A3 ability, because it has 100% turn meter depletion on a 4-turn cooldown, except for one little thing. It also scales on enemy max HP, so it does about 20 times the damage. Obviously, it depends on who you're attacking, but this is just an insanely big damage ability. I don't need to tell you guys, if you have Koltar, she's probably the most sought after rare in the game, so congratulations. She's also one of those champions that definitely I would build build duplicates of Koltar, because she's that good. You can put her in Destroy set against the Scarab King to quickly deplete his max HP. You can use her against Spider. You can use her against Fire Knight. You can use her against anything that you want to do a lot of damage against with the max HP. She's such a versatile and powerful champion. She, to me, is number one, and as I said, it's not even close. Guys, let me know. Who did I snub? Who did I leave off the list? And if you want me to rank something else from 15 to 1, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, guys. Send some positive vibes and love your way today if you need it. And as always, take care, guys.